Spring, Texas. It's station 74, and boy, do we have a treat for you. Firefighter Frenchie, also known as Jeremy Bricou, is from France, and he is showing us how to bake authentic French baguettes right here in the station kitchen. He's also going to walk us through the difference between American fire gear and French fire gear. You're not going to want to miss it. Let's go meet Jeremy. Hey, Jeremy.
Hey,
thanks
Michelle.
for having me today.
Right, thanks for visiting us.
I'm a bread expert, okay, just bread in general. Today, I'm in for a real treat with French bread.
Absolutely. So this came from my love of bread, being raised on good bread in France, excellent bread actually, and I just could not find the true flavor of the good bread I love. So I decided to learn how to make it, and I've been sharing my recipe, been making it for my coworkers and my fellow firefighters. Everybody seems to enjoy it, so I just want to share it with the people today.
You are from France.
Yes.
Everybody calls you what?
Frenchie.
Frenchie.
Yeah,
That's a
very
great
original.
name. Very original. That's right. I love it. All right. Well, thanks for having us. All right. Walk me through these ingredients, and I want to hear a little more about your story as we go through the beginning process.
Okay, ingredients. So we have our bread flour, so white bread flour, not just any other flour.
Okay.
The bread flour has usually a higher gluten content. I know gluten is very frowned upon here in 2020, but gluten is actually a good thing for you.
Okay.
I have just some regular table sugar, sea salt.
Yeah, this looks like things I can find in my kitchen.
Oh,
for sure.
absolutely.
Nothing looks
And you
like
have maybe
intimidating.
what, less than $15 worth of ingredients.
Yeah, that's
And
right.
it'll make you a lot of bread or pizza dough or things of that nature.
This is where I get intimidated. When you start bringing yeast in, I'm like, wait, it has to rise, and you have to be very particular.
Yes, it does have to rise, and this is actually what takes the longest in the process. 20-30 minutes tops of actual hand work.
Right.
But it's about 3 to 4, maybe 5 hours of waiting time just for the raise. So I usually start with the water mix here.
Okay.
So what I do is put some 1 teaspoon worth of sugar in there. What the sugar is going to do is actually feed the yeast, activate the yeast. So it's really
You're starting with what?
just yes,
Cup and a half.
so I don't count in cups and half and things of that nature. I count in milliliters. So I had to learn all the conversions for the metric system to the imperial.
Right.
But that's the one thing I still have a hard time. So I do just about 400 milliliters of water, just slightly under. But now you have to keep in mind that dough, especially bread dough, is something that will change, like depending on when you make it through the year, whether it's summer, winter, the humidity. Yeah, so sometimes you might have to have a little more water, sometimes a little less water. It really depends. It's about the consistency, and that's also what takes several years to learn how to feel for it, the right feel for it.
Wow.
So one teaspoon of sugar.
Okay.
So just 3 little bags of active dry yeast.
Okay.
Although it is active and ready to use, I still put the sugar.
And you find that on the baking aisle? At any
that's the baking aisle at the grocery store, any grocery store near you.
I see our local firefighters at my grocery store all the time, and I always wonder, I'm like, what are they cooking? I would have never thought French bread, like authentic, real deal French bread.
We're a very high-end machine, so we need to be fed properly.
And cost efficient. And when you're trying to spread that out over an entire shift of firefighters, that you can really stretch your dollar here.
What most people do here in spring is we work 48 hours on, 96 off. We give about $20 each, so usually $20 for the tour, so $3 for breakfast,
That works out
for
really
dinner. Yes. Someone wants some French bread. There you go.
Give it a good stir.
It makes it easier to dissolve when the water is kind of warm.
Right. Right.
So,
all
right. So pour that in the bowl. Now you should see your water here start to ferment. Okay, so a little foam is going to be formed on top. And it'll take about 5 to 10 minutes to start. So if you let it work, it'll take about 5-10 minutes.
Okay.
But what you can do is, in the meantime, so this is here, that's ready to be used. What you do is take your flour. Now that's the only one. Actually, that's the only one thing I use cups for. I know this is 4 cups of flour to my mixture of water here.
Now I know you were motivated to create this recipe because you were looking for, you know, a taste of home, basically.
Yes.
But did you ever bake or cook at home very much?
No, never. So there was a bakery very near where I used to live in France, and so 4 cups of flour here.
Okay.
So there was that bakery, and my parents came on vacation one time, and they told me, oh yeah, there's a TV show, you know, like a reality show going on, like the best bakery in France and stuff, and that particular bakery is in there. And that was my reference. Okay, that bakery is my reference. That bakery went on that show, and I think there was about 30,000 bakeries competing, and they actually won the title of best bakery in France. So my reference is actually the best bread in France.
God, I love that. That's a great story.
So just 1 teaspoon of sea salt. This is, I would say, of all of the steps that you have to do, this is probably the most crucial one. If you forget that 1 teaspoon of salt, you are done. The whole thing would be really, really nasty. And it's funny that just 1 teaspoon of salt in all of these ingredients does the difference. But
now, what would you make with this? Is this going to be as a side?
This complements any kind of dishes that you can make, really. But the guys I work with, usually when I make it, this thing is gone before dinner. There's nothing left, or I have to just save one on the side for dinner. So people actually use it, you know, eat it like that, just on its own.
In France, though, is it always, I mean, do you always have bread to accompany your meal?
Most of the times, yeah.
At least
it's very common. Like you actually go to the bakery on a daily basis. You buy your bread, your fresh bread that you bring back home, and you have that for dinner or breakfast. But now let's move on to the main part here, the messy part. When I'm on shift, when I'm on duty, what I do is I actually put rubber gloves, because I found out the hard way that when you have dough all over your hands and you get a call, you just have to just wash everything. It takes a good amount of time. Right. So you have to make sure, of course, that your hands are very clean. Put some gloves on, and it works great. So you can use either a spatula or just your fingers. You have to move the flour, or mix the flour and the water together. Okay. And give you like a doughy consistency. It mixes together very quickly.
It really does.
Food scraper.
Oh yes, the scraper.
Secret. Yep.
Scrape it off your hand. I can see how that could be a problem if you got a call right now.
Yes.
And well, then what would happen to this? You're like, well, I guess would it be trash by the time you get back?
Technically, I'm a firefighter. I'm not a bread baker. So firefighting takes priority over the bread baking. So put this off to the side. Yep, right on the counter. So make sure, of course, the counter is very, very clean. Again, everybody knows that this is a no man's land. Once I'm making the bread, they know that I clean everything like very, very, very well. Yes. And they know not to touch anything, not to set anything there for the rest of the day. So mix all of your ingredients here. This is
Frenchie's space. Back up.
Exactly.
Talk to me about why you became a firefighter.
So I've always wanted to be a firefighter. I actually grew up in the fire station in France. Both my parents were firefighters. Really? Yes. So they have stopped since, but they were in there for about 20 years each. Oh. My mom was one of the first female firefighters in France back in the days. Yes. And so I grew up in that universe, and I really enjoyed it, and that's something I really love. I also love, like fire, and I love helping people, and this is like the perfect job for that. All
right, so what's the culture like? I mean, is it very similar between being a firefighter in France and being a firefighter here?
So my best way to explain it is it's the exact same end goal, but 2 very different ways of getting there.
Really?
Yes, everything is different. The equipment is different. The way of doing things is different. The way of fighting fire is different. The architecture is extremely different. We have a lot of like wooden structures. Over there it's mostly solid and stone cinder block construction. Right. So it's a very different type of firefighting. Exact same goal, same result that you want in the end, but a very different way of getting there. So
how's this feeling to you?
It's feeling pretty good right now. So it's about a 5 to 10 minute process. When it's done mixing, it should be very nice, round, and very soft, like kind of like a little baby skin. And then just put it back in the bowl, cover it up with a towel. All right. We have towels here.
And you dampen the towel, right?
Yes. Okay. Yes. So you want to keep the moisture.
Soaking wet, but
no, not soaking wet, but you get it wet, wring it, cover it up so it'll keep the moisture, it won't dry as it's rising. Let me wash my hands and then
we just leave it here? Or
yeah. Oh no, I cannot leave it here. If I leave it here, everybody's gonna be way too curious. Just come here, lift up that towel. So what we are going to do is actually put it up there on the cabinet and
gotcha.
and let it rise for. So you have the choice. You can let it rise if you want to eat it, fairly soon. You can let it rise for 2 to 3 hours. It's just fine. Or you can let it rise, for the rest of the day, overnight, even 2-3 days if you wanted to. As long as you keep the towel wet a few times throughout the day, should be good.
Okay, so let's go ahead and put him up and let's check out the fire gear. Yeah.
Yep. Here we have a set of French firefighter gear.
Okay, this doesn't look as heavy as what you guys traditionally wear, right?
Heavy. Yeah, it's fairly thick, but not quite as thick as what we have here. This is the older style gear. Now they are coming out with red gear. They've done a ton of study, and apparently the color red protects from the heat better.
Really?
Yes. So you are less prone to get burn injuries with the red color fire gear. So you have the jacket here. You have the pants. Unlike us here, so here we have the boots already attached to the pants. Over there is just like a simple over pant, and they just pop it on. They just pop it on. Use the same shoes that they already wear, and they go fight fire with that. So this is it here. Okay. And now, so the main piece that just gets everybody's attraction. Okay, so we have our regular traditional fire helmets here that everybody knows. That's such a big icon. And what people don't really realize here, I feel like, is that actually people throughout the world, and a lot of firemen in France, which I talk to a lot of people in France, they actually love this helmet. It's such a huge icon because of movies, because of documentaries and things of that nature. So they love this one, but for them, like what they know from when they are born, a fire helmet looks like this, okay? And they also love this one.
It looks more like a motorcycle helmet to me.
Does look like a motorcycle helmet. I can't even tell you how many times I've heard that too.
Oh, really?
So just for them, this is a regular typical helmet. You have a golden face shield here. That's actually a gold leaf.
Wow.
That's made to protect from the radiant heat.
Yeah.
If you don't wear an air pack with the mask and everything, so it protects your face from radiant heat.
Now, what's the main difference between fighting a fire here and fighting a fire in France?
I would say the main difference that I've noticed, we have a lot of like 1, 2, 3-story maybe buildings. They have a lot of 17, 18, 20, 25-story apartment buildings with fires on like the 17th floor, extending to the 18, 19, 20th floor. So once you have fire in the stairway, or you have so much smoke in the stairway, you can't get down. So they have to go up and get the people. So it is not rare to see fires where they do, 1, 2, 3, 10, 20, 30 rescues or even more. They had a fire that was sometime last year. They had 10 casualties, but they pulled out like 64 people or something like this. All on the inside of a building with no access for the ladder trucks to get there. So all ground ladders and hook ladders that they have to hook to the windows on the 7th or 8th floor. Quite different.
Fire awareness, is it as huge there as it is here?
So it's been a lot bigger here, I would say, than it's been over there. They are getting to it. Smoke detectors are mandatory in the homes now since 2015, whereas here it's been a very, very, everybody's known smoke detectors. So, So
this looks amazing.
This is what the dough looks like after roughly 3 hours, but it's okay to leave it rise overnight if you prefer. So it'll give it more flavor.
So minimum of 3 hours.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So when I make pizza with this, you typically make the dough around 6 a.m. when I'm at work, and I make the pizza around 5:30 p.m. So it rises all day, and that's no problem. As long as you have it covered with a wet cloth, it won't dry or anything.
Okay.
So this is what it looks like here. So in order to get it out and start shaping it, what I do is take a little bit of my flour here.
Put on top. Wow.
Put that on the edges here.
Look at this. I love your technique of how you kind of are like your own sifter.
years of practice here.
Wow.
So and then either with my hands or with a tool like this.
Okay.
I go and I just scrape the edges and it just comes right off. And this is what it looks like here in the end. Put a little more flour here so it doesn't stick. Okay, kind of work the flour under the dough. And what I do is I kind of try to get it even here.
So you could make it as long or as thinned out as you want.
So this will make 3 baguettes in the end. Okay, this will make 3 breads because it'll rise again. We are going to shape them, put them on the baking sheet here, and let them rise again for about an hour or so. I try to shape it about just even like this.
Okay.
If you have a scale, you can weigh it. So I don't know in ounces and pounds and stuff, but usually the finished product is about 1.1 kilo here. Okay. So you can divide that in just 3, so it's about 350 or 325 grams. Okay. So what I do is kind of like pre-score the dough, try to make it look even. Okay, so I can tell this is, it looks about right. Okay, like if I cut it just here,
so just eyeballing it.
Yeah.
Okay.
This it'll be 1. Again, this is years of practice and experience.
It looks so fluffy.
So, so anyway, you now kind of like have your 3 equal parts, or just about equal. What I do is with my finger, I kind of like flatten it a little bit, make it somewhat of a square or rectangle. Okay, with the edge that I cut, I kind of roll it back on itself.
Oh wow!
Here, it'll stick to it. Here, roll it back again.
Okay.
Kind of like pinch it with my finger. I don't know if you can see from the back. Pinch it with my fingers. Roll it back again. Kind of like push it in with my fingers. It'll trap a lot of little air bubbles inside. Okay. So roll it again. Up. Now that it's somewhat shaped, what I do is I try to make it as long as the baking sheet that I have here. Okay. And I start from the middle with the chopping part of my hand. Sure. And roll towards the outside. Okay. And I kind of make the edges or the ends pointy. And then you have an opening here, which is called a key, and you should have that at the bottom. Okay. And then I forgot one step. Here's a trade secret. Trade secret. Yeah, trade secret. So a little cooking spray.
Any kind of cooking spray, or what do you?
What I do is that I put it on there.
Okay.
I just need this real quick.
This is just the baking made with flour.
Yes. I take a piece of paper towel. That's right. Okay, just wipe it as thin as possible. You don't need a lot on there.
There's nothing worse than having this beautiful loaf here and then have it stick to your pan.
Yeah.
And
it cannot stick, but I also don't like to have it greasy. So what I do is put a bunch of flour here on top. And then if you tap it down like this on the edges and get rid of the excess flour, you have like something extremely thin that will not burn. If you have too much flour on this, it will burn, smoke up the entire house. Then you have to call 911 because you think you have a fire. Here we come. Like, someone's trying to make my bread and they're burning the house down, so that sucks.
I was trying to make your bread, Frenchie.
So what I do is kind of like shape it.
All and three
yeah, absolutely. Adjust it to the length of the baking sheet here.
This is like perfection. It looks amazing already.
I try and make it as perfect as possible.
Okay, so you push it.
My coworkers have very, very high expectations now.
I'm sure they do.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna let these rest for another hour. Are we putting them back up in your spot?
So it's a fire station. I'm gonna put them back up. Okay. So there is a reason that I did not disclose earlier. The reason why I put them back up also not only for firefighters who like to poke things, but it's also the heat. Like we know, for a fact, the heat rises. Sure. It's not 1,000 degrees up there like it is for us usually, but it's hot enough to make the bread rise nicely and slowly. So you go up there.
No tampering up there.
No tampering. Get that. So as you can see, they have risen now. Now it is time to score it. So we score it so that the bread can expand and not burst when it's cooking,
So
because
it's not
it will.
Just a design thing. I thought that was just to make it look pretty.
No, it actually has a use.
Okay.
So different options for the scoring. You can have a professional, semi-professional tool like this with a curved blade to score your dough.
Okay.
Or you can just use a regular kitchen knife.
That would be
extremely sharp as possible. You have to get it very, very sharp. Okay, this needs to be one quick motion.
Okay.
So that's why a razor blade is a better idea. Okay. But what you do, so you just go down and score your bread.
Wow. Okay, I see.
Like that. So with that,
I can see how that serves a purpose now. So just about 4?
Mm-hmm. Just about 4 for the length of these. If you don't have that blade, what you can do is, so it's a little trickier, but you have to kind of pinch it, otherwise it'll pull it down. But don't pinch it too hard, like do not hold it too hard, but just enough so it doesn't move. Okay. So we'll do 3 on this one. Just
to let some of the air in. Okay, let's pop those in the oven.
All right. Put that in the oven. So the goal is going to be to keep that heat. So you want to open the oven, throw them in there, or put them in, put them in there, and then close the oven and let it rise and let it cook. Okay. So they cook for approximately 15 to 20 minutes, to 15 to 25 minutes, depending on the oven. Okay. Different ovens will give you different results. Sure. But what you're looking for is that nice golden color that kind of looks like. Kind of like this here.
I can picture it.
Kind of this color, okay? A brownish, but not burnt.
Okay.
Color.
Okay.
And it should give you that nice crisp
all right.
bread in the end.
Frenchie, that was incredible. I think that it spoke for itself when everyone was just grabbing all the bread.
I wasn't lying to you when I told you I make it and it's just gone, it flies off the shelf.
And it looked beautiful. The presentation was amazing, tasted good. I kind of felt like I just went on like a flash trip to Paris or to France and came right back. It was awesome. Thank you for sharing all of that with us and all your trade secrets. I know that wasn't easy for you.
It wasn't easy, but if people can make bread, just French bread, it's easy. Yeah. It's not as fancy as people make it to be, so enjoy it.
Yeah, well, thank you. Thank you so much. We appreciate it, and we'll see you next time cooking up something good. Let's unfold this beauty and see what you've created. It smells so unbelievably good in here. So first stop is here, where there's lots of gears and buttons and gauges. What do you call this?
This is called the pump panel.
So anybody that's going to do this at home, I'd say experiment. Do what makes you happy on your recipe. Find out what you like and go with it.
I'm no expert, but it definitely works for me too.